Hello, everybody. We're about to start our Springboard Live Workshop Wednesday. Um, and before we get started, just as people are showing up, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that if you are a parent and you're reading at home, or a family member who's reading at home with an adult kid, we have a coaching plan just for you. So it looks like this. You can download it if you want to from our resource page, and we'll put the link. And it has, I don't know if you can see this, but it has links to ebooks. So if you don't have ebooks at home, well, you don't have ebooks at home, but if you don't have very many books at home, like we don't, and our library is closed, there's a link to an ebook that you can use, and it gives you questions and ideas for each day of the week. And all of them are centered on one reading tip for the week. You could download this as a piece of paper. I wouldn't recommend that because then the links aren't live. Or you can download it to your phone and you can follow along on a PDF that's on your phone. Or it's also printed directly on the Springboard resource page. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew about that before we get started and while we're waiting for folks to show up.
So there's like a 15-second delay.
Right now? Okay.
So when
my producer Dave is just telling me there's a 15-second delay about things. Okay.
When we ask for comments, it's going to be a delay.
Okay. So when we are asking for comments, we'll just make sure that we're waiting and giving you guys some time to make sure that your video out there in Facebook land is caught up with our video here in Idaho, where we are coming to you live from. So my name is Amanda Hamilton Roos. I'm the product manager here at Springboard Collaborative. This is my son Zev, and a fun fact about me is that I made a delicious carrot cake for Easter. And actually, carrot cake is one of my favorite types of cake. Zev, what about you? What's one of your favorite types of cake?
Chocolate cake or carrot cake.
Chocolate cake or carrot cake. Okay, so while you guys are rolling in to this Facebook Live, can you drop your name in the chat and where you're from and your favorite type of cake? So over here, we are coming to you from Idaho. My name is Mandy. This is Zev. And our favorite type of cake, carrot cake, chocolate. We'll also eat carrot cake if it's delicious. So come on into the chat, drop your name, where you're from, and your favorite dessert. Now, remember that Springboard Collaborative is a literacy nonprofit that helps educators and family members become reading coaches. So one way that we do that is through these family workshops. And in our workshops, teachers, families, and children all work together to practice, to learn and practice together a reading tip. So we're excited for you all to be joining us today. We at Springboard Collaborative really miss our families, missing all of them, and this is our little way to try to connect across the time and distance that we find ourselves now. So this is a family event. If you are an adult, go grab a kid. If you're a kid, go grab an adult. This is my kid. His name is Zev. He is in third grade. So if you also want to drop in the chat what grade your kids are in, then I'll make sure that whatever we're talking about today, I'll talk about how it can apply to both older kids and also to younger kids. So once again, if you're just showing up, welcome to the Springboard Live Family Workshop. My name is Mandy. This is Zev. In the chat box, we are dropping our names, where we're from, and your favorite type of cake. If you missed it, my favorite type of cake is carrot cake. And if you know of a good carrot cake recipe, I would absolutely love it and encourage you to drop it in the chat box. Well, maybe don't go find it right now. Just connect with me later and let me know. Okay, and while we're waiting for folks to show up, just a reminder that we have a lot of resources on our resource page for you, including a coaching plan that you can go and check out. So if after this Facebook Live event you have any questions about that coaching plan or whatever, you can always reach out to Springboard Collaborative. I'm usually on the other end of that email, and I would love to answer any of those questions. So, should we get started? Seemed like some people have showed up.
Yep, we got Sharifa and Stephanie with us.
Okay, welcome, Sharifa and Stephanie. Nice of you guys to come by. And whoever else is up, I know that our chat is a little bit delayed from our video, so it's a little bit hard to manage that, but we're going to do it. Okay, so today we are going to talk about our reading tip for today is called Scoop. And now, what do we do? What do we mean by that? We're actually going to tell you. So when we're talking about scoop, we mean that we're going to be scooping words and phrases together when we read. So let me show you what I mean. Here's a sentence. Now, when we just start reading, when we just start out, we usually read things word by word. We read something like, Zev ate a big slice of carrot cake, right? Word by word. But what we want to do, as we get more and more practice and we get a little bit better at reading, we want to start to read in phrases. So we're going to, let me show you what I mean. A big slice of carrot cake. So then we start reading it in phrases. And let's see, oh, that orange marker is not very dark. Let me see if I can make that a little bit darker. And May, could you maybe get me a red marker? All right, let's try that again. So then we kind of scoop it into phrases. So Zev ate a big slice of carrot cake. Well, actually, let me do that again. Zev ate a big slice of carrot cake, right? And so instead of reading it word by word, we want to start to read it into phrases. And then as we get better and better at it, our phrases get bigger and bigger. So then we might say, Zev ate a big slice of carrot cake, right? So that's called scooping, when we scoop words into words and phrases. So let's try that again. I forgot to say that when we read this here, Zev ate a big slice of carrot cake, we sound a little bit robotic, right? Not a lot of expression. So now Zev and I are going to show you a robotic voice and then a scooped voice, okay? And you're going to vote in the chat which one of us is robotic and which one of us is reading in a fluent voice. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? Okay, I'll go first. Zev is crazy about carrot cake. I'll do that one more time. Zev is crazy about carrot cake. All right, now Zev, you read it in a voice.
Zev is crazy about carrot cake.
Which one of us was reading word by word and which one of us was scooping? Was Zev reading like a robot, word by word, or was he reading fluently like a storyteller in phrases? He's going to go one more time. Word by word.
Zev is crazy about carrot cake.
And here's mine. Zev is crazy about carrot cake. Drop in the chat. Who is doing what? Is Zev reading like a robot or am I? There's a bit of a delay. We'll wait. It's fine. And if you're just tuning in, here we are, Springboard Collaborative in our family workshops. I'm Mandy. This is Zev. We're presenting the tip scoop today. And you're voting for us about who is reading in a robotic word-by-word voice and who is reading in scooped phrases. Okay, no votes yet. So I'm going to do it one more time. Zev is crazy about carrot cake. All right, Zev, stand up and do it.
Zev is crazy about carrot cake.
I mean, I think Zev is probably one of the cutest robots I've ever heard, right? Zev is definitely reading in the robot voice, and I am reading in the scooped phrases. Okay, let's try it one more time. Here it is. Zev's gonna go first. Oh no, I'll go first this time. Robots love carrot cake.
Robots love carrot cake.
Robots love carrot cake.
Robots love carrot cake.
So now drop in the chat. Which one of us is scooping our phrases? Is it Mandy or is it Zev? And which one of us is reading like a robot, word by word? Robots love carrot cake. Go again, Zebby.
Robots love carrot cake.
Now, remember that reading word by word and sort of robotic, that's not, it's not wrong, right? It's what beginning readers do. We read word by word, and it's good that we can read the words, but we want to help our children move kind of beyond that phase and move into reading it, scooping it into phrases. Zev, why don't you do it one more time to show them what scooping the phrases look like?
Robots love carrot cake.
Robots love carrot cake. And you can see that with his voice, he is scooping. Oop, where's my red marker? Robots love carrot cake. He's scooping the phrases together. Even in a short sentence like that, you can scoop the phrases together. All right, now we're gonna give you guys a chance to practice at home. So let's read this out loud together at home. And you read it out loud with me too, please. Is that a slice of carrot cake in your pocket? Is that a slice of carrot cake in your pocket? All right, Zebby, show them how it's read in a phrase. You can stand up if you want to so you can see it a little better. Okay.
Is that a slice of carrot cake in your pocket?
Nice. One more time.
Is that a slice of carrot cake in your pocket?
So you can see that not only is Zev not reading it word by word, but he's also adding in that expression, right, with the question mark. And that's what scooping phrases can do, can help us to get that expression into our voice, which is what we're trying to do. All right, so we have, why don't you give us a thumbs up in the chat box if this is making sense, if you're getting what we mean by scooping the words together. And Zev has showed us how to scoop the words together. I showed it. We've given you a robot example, and then we've given you the scooped word example. So now that we know what scooping means, let's talk about how to practice it. And the best way to do that is actually our, Zev, want to grab it? Our extra special secret reading tip of today. Here it comes. It is by rereading. And don't forget that, go ahead and put it a little closer to the camera. Our extra special reading tip of the day is rereading is not punishment. When we ask our kids to reread, it's not because they did something bad, it's because we want to practice something. So make sure that in your house, everybody understands that rereading something is not a punishment. You didn't do something wrong. We're just gonna now do something different with what we just read. We're gonna reread to practice something specific. And that's exactly the best way to practice doing scoop. So we're going to practice it with this book, one of our favorite books, Gotta Go by Sam Swope. And I have written down the very first sentence of that book right here. So the first thing you do is you just read the sentence out loud, word by word, so everybody knows what the words are. And when it was time, out of the egg came a teeny tiny, creepy, crawly bug. She was all alone. Okay, so we all know the words. And now we're going to reread, right? Which is not a punishment, but an excellent way to practice. And this time when we reread, we're going to physically scoop the words together. So we're going to say, and let me just do it real fast with a marker. When it was time, out of the egg came a teeny tiny, creepy crawly bug. She was all alone. All right. Seb, do you want to read that to us, scooping those phrases together? Why don't you stand up so you can see it a little bit better, sweetheart?
And when it was time, out of the egg came a teeny tiny, creepy crawly bug. She was all alone.
Great. You want to do it one more time?
And when it was time, out of the egg came a teeny tiny, creepy crawly bug. She was all alone.
Okay, so you could really hear in his voice how he was able to scoop those words into phrases. And that little line underneath the words really helps readers put that into their voice. Now, if you're reading in a book, you're probably not going to be able to use a pencil, you're not going to be able to mark it. You could use a pencil, I guess, if it's your own book. But if it's a library book or a book that you're borrowing, instead of using a marker, you can use your finger. So let me show you how that would work. So step one, we have the creepy crawly bug held up her head, looked out at the beautiful meadow. Oh, I'm sorry. First, step one, just read it to get the words. The creepy crawly bug held up her head, looked out at the beautiful meadow, and said, I don't know much, but I know what I know. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go to Mexico. And then we start scooping. The creepy crawly bug held up her head, looked out at the beautiful meadow, and said, I don't know much, but I know what I know. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go to Mexico. And you can see how the punctuation on the page also really helps you to read in phrases. So make sure if there's a comma or a period or question mark, any of those things, that's the end of your phrase for sure. That's the end of your scooping. Okay, let's try it. Here is the next sentence from the book, right? So Zeb, do you want to just read us the words? And then you guys at home too, let's all read the words so we can just get to know what they say.
And she creepy crawled away just as fast as she could go.
Okay, so then now we're going to take it and we're going to scoop it together. And she creepy crawled away just as fast as she could go. All right, I'm going to put this up here, and I'd like you at home to read it together in phrases. Let's see if I can center it just right. There you go. Oh, this hand needs to move down. There we go. Now you're going to read it at home in, this is much harder than it looks, by the way. Okay. There, we got it. So now you're going to read this at home 3 times in phrases. Okay? Zev, why don't you also read it in phrases 3 times? So after you read it 3 times, give us a thumbs up so we know that you've had a chance to practice reading in phrases. Hit it, Zev Bruce.
And she creepy crawled away just as fast as she could go. And she creepy crawled away just as fast as she could go. and she creepy crawled away just as fast as she could go.
Okay, I'm going to leave this up here just for a couple more seconds here. So if you're just joining us, here we are at Springboard Collaborative's Family Workshop Wednesday. We're glad that you're here. We're practicing reading things in phrases. So we read this sentence to get the words down, and now we're rereading, which is a wonderful way to practice scooping. And we're scooping the sentence, the words in the sentence into phrases. So right now at home, we are reading this 3 times together with your reading partner, and then you're going to drop a thumbs up in the chat box so we know. And of course, you can always drop any questions you have in the chat box. We're definitely going to be answering some questions in just a couple of minutes that you have wherever you are. So I'll give you just a couple more minutes to read this together with your reading partner. Maybe Zev will read it for us one more time.
And she creepy crawled away just as fast as she could go.
Nice. Dave, any questions in the comment box?
Not yet.
Oh, well, looks like I'm explaining it perfectly then. No questions needed. All right, so you right now are reading this with your reading partner 3 times. And we're giving you just a minute to practice scooping things together into phrases. I'm gonna wait just a couple more seconds. And hey, if you're enjoying this workshop and think that you have a friend who might benefit from it, also has small kids, why don't you tag them? You can just add them right now in the comments and they'll be able to watch it later because it will definitely be available later. How many people do we have?
Like 9 or 10 usually.
Great. Welcome, everybody. We're glad that you're here. Okay, great. So hopefully you got a little chance to practice reading in phrases. So we have now gone over. Now remember that you can physically do it with your finger in a book to help your child do it. But eventually we want them to be able to do it all on their own and not with their finger, right? Just be able to do it with their eyes. So when your child is just beginning to read in phrases, keep them short and either physically mark them if it's your book or use your finger to mark them. And then as they get a little bit more practiced, longer and longer phrases, depending on what the sentence says. And then as they get even more and more advanced, encourage them not to use their finger, but just to use their eyes to push forward into scooping phrases. And that's how we want it to go. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to show you a little game that you can play to practice this skill at home. And we're going to keep using this book to practice this game. So we call this game Save the Robot. So here's my son Zev, who I love dearly, but unfortunately, he has been turned into a robot. Zev, say hello to the people.
Hello.
Did you hear that? Where has my son gone? He's been replaced with a robot. And so he's going to start reading, and we're going to hear his robot voice. Go ahead.
She ate and she crawled. She crawled and she ate.
He is reading just like a robot, but we want to save the robot and turn him back into a human being. The only way we can do that is to find a secret button somewhere on his body that turns him back into a human. So I'm trying to decide, would this be his button, pushing his nose, or could it be pulling on his left earlobe is the button that will turn him back into a human? I'm not sure which button I should push. Maybe you guys have an opinion about which might be his save the robot button. Could it be his nose that will turn him back into a human? Or could it be his ear, pulling on his ear? Drop in the chat box which button you think I should try first. And let's hear his robot voice one more time.
She ate so much, she crawled right out of her skin. I got to go. I got to go. I got to go to Mexico.
This is terrible. What's happened to my son? He's been replaced by a robot. Well, I'm going to try his left earlobe, and I'm going to see if maybe that turns him back into a human. Let's see if it worked.
Along the way, she met a grasshopper who said, "Where are you going, creepy crawly bug?"
He is still a robot. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try another button. Okay, I'm going to go back. Maybe it was his nose. I'm going to push his nose and see if that turns this poor robot child back into the human child that I love so much. Beep.
Along the way, she met a grasshopper who said, "Where are you going, creepy crawly bug?" "Mexico. Mexico? I got to go to Mexico."
It looks like I did find my son again. Thank you for playing along, Zev. So then what we could do is we could switch. And then I become the robot voice. Mexico, Mexico, I got to go to Mexico. And Zev would try to find the button somewhere on my body, hopefully not a painful button, that would turn me back into a human. And we take turns reading in both a robot voice and also reading in human voices after we find the button. And I would do that with a book that you know very, very well, right? Because this is a good skill to practice when you're rereading something, not when you're reading something for the very first time. So that is a game that you can play. We are wrapping it up. So if you have any questions that you want answered in the chat box, we would love to answer them. Go ahead and drop them at any point. So what we've learned what it means to scoop words together. And if you want to hear more examples, Dave is going to drop in the chat box a link to Great Schools, where there are these wonderful milestone videos where you can hear what it sounds like when your child is reading on grade level and when they're scooping words together. Because scooping words together in kindergarten looks different than scooping words together in 4th grade, for example. We also learned that rereading is not a punishment. Remember, rereading is not a punishment. It is a wonderful way to practice a lot of skills of reading, and one of them being scooping. And then we also learned that you can do it with your finger or you can do it with a marker to help your child learn how to do it. But eventually you want to take that away and just use your eyes. And then finally, we learned a fun game that you can play called Save the Robot. Now, if you have older kids, like Zev is older and I don't really read with him necessarily anymore, but what we might do is I might ask him to pick a page or a paragraph from a book that he's reading and reread it to me so that I can hear how he is scooping words together in phrases, and we can talk about reading fluently. And if you have younger kids who are not yet reading on their own, you can, when you're reading out loud to them, just scoop along with your finger as you're reading aloud. That way they can hear you reading in phrases and also see that you are scooping words together in phrases. And that is a good way to do this tip with younger kids. So remember that our goal is to help our children internalize these strategies. So make sure you're kind of asking them, like when they're reading on their own, are you scooping words and phrases? How is that going? We want them to be able to do it without us. And the reason we want kids to be able to scoop is because it really helps with comprehension and also their reading fluency, or the way that they can sound like a storyteller when they read. Okay, so we're wrapping up. If you have any final questions, we're about to hop off. If you have any questions at all, you can drop them in the chat box. You can always private message to Springboard Collaborative. We also have an at-home reading coach private Facebook group, which Dave will drop the link in the chat box to. The conversation continues over there. If you have any specific questions you want to answer or any resources to share with other people who are also coaching their children at home, we would love for you to join us over there. So thank you so much for joining us for Practicing Scoop. Dave, do we have any questions in the chat box coming in?
Not yet.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for joining us today at our virtual workshop. How is reading going at your house? We'd love to hear if you want to drop in the chat box your goal for this week of how many minutes you're going to read or any successes you've had. We'd love to celebrate with you. Once again, I'm Mandy. This is Zev. We are tuning in from the great state of Idaho and wishing that we could all be together at a workshop. We really miss our family workshops, and we're happy that we can do something like this on Facebook with all of you. So anything that we need to react to? Great. All right. Like I said, conversation continues. If you're watching this and it's not live, please feel free to reach out either on Springboard's Facebook page or at the At Home Reading Coach private group, and we'll be happy to talk more about scooping and anything else. All right. You want to say goodbye?